Guys, and welcome to today's video, which is like a story time of how I met my best friend over the internet. So to start off with, my best friend's name is Miriam, and she's also got a personal channel which I'm gonna link up here. And I'm gonna tell you the story about how we met and how we actually met. So I have a big social media account for horses which has a lot of followers, and Miriam happened to be one of my followers. I shouted out my own Snapchat and she added me, and she sent me some pictures and I sent her some pictures because it was like interfering with my fans and followers. And then we added each other on Facebook, and I asked a question if anyone spoke Arabic, and she was the only one who actually told me yeah, I speak Arabic, because I wanted to translate something. And she translated it for me, and she obviously knew me, and I kind of got to know her. So we just randomly started talking on Facebook, and then we kept interfering with each other on other social media like Ask FM. And then we just kept talking more and more, and I remember after about a month we had video calls on Snapchat where we just talked about different things, and suddenly we had half an hour and 1 hour video calls on Snapchat and voice calls, and we just started talking more and more. And it was kind of weird because I had a lot of internet friends, and some of them were really close to me, but I kind of we kind of fell out like internet friends most often do. But me and Miriam kept talking, and then we started talking on WhatsApp because she actually made me download that app. So we texted on WhatsApp, we talked to each other, and eventually we were talking almost every day for hours. And then we just started talking about everything, just everyday life, and it just developed from talking one time to talking a few times a week, to talking every day, and to talking every day for hours. And then I moved to Germany to work in August, and then we have been talking for about 2 months, yeah. So when I lived in Germany, I was working 14 hours a day, and I obviously didn't have time to talk to many people, and most of them just stopped talking to me because obviously it's annoying to talk to someone who never has time to talk to you, which was me. But Miriam was the one who stuck by me, and yeah, she was she accepted it. I was busy, but I talked to her as much as I could, and for the whole time we were giving each other advice and stuff, and helping each other. We talked about issues. We talked about fun stuff, we talked about horses, we talked about the past and the future and just everything. And it's really strange because I'm a very closed up person. I don't have that many friends because, I don't know, it's just the kind of person I am that I don't feel the need to have 500 friends. I would rather have some close ones. And Miriam quickly turned out to be one of my closest friends. But the only perk was that I lived in Northern Europe and she lived in the Middle East. So we just yeah, we kept talking when I was in Germany, and then I got sick and I was admitted to hospital in Germany, and that was the most horrifying time of my life. It was so scary, and I was feeling so sick, and I remember sitting in lying in the hospital bed, and Miriam was the only friend I talked to. And she just tried to comfort me. She was genuinely interested and cared about my health, which meant a ton to me. And then I made the very tough decision to quit my job in Germany and go back home to Norway because I was sick. And I felt a lot of people didn't support that. They thought it was wrong. They thought I should have stayed in Germany, all of stuff like that. But Miriam was the one who supported me. And she was yeah, I understand your decision, and I support you in that choice, which meant a ton. And I was even talking about quitting show jumping and just get a horse to have fun with. And when I told people that, they were oh my gosh, you're absolutely insane and blah blah blah. And I told her that I didn't want to buy the horse I was trying because I felt I just wanted to give up. And she said, you shouldn't give up, but if you want to quit show jumping, I support your decision, and you should do what you feel is right, and I will support you either way. But she was also the one who supported me in the choice to actually buy the horse I tried and not quit show jumping. I have not regret the decision to keep doing show jumping a single day, but I'm so glad, like it like really showed me what a true friend she is, when I felt like what people liked me for was what I did like in the sport of show jumping. But she said to me, like, no matter what you do, I'll still be your friend and I'll still support you, but the most important thing is your health. So I decided to go back home to Norway. And that was like such a depressing time, like I was at such a low point in my life, I had no energy. And at that time I'm pretty sure Mariam was the only person I talked to who, like, I don't know, she's so accepting, which is what made her like my best friend, because she accepted me for like no matter what I did. She just did so much that cheered me up. She always knew what to say. Like, we basically talked every day for like hours on the phone, on FaceTime, and like sent each other pictures and videos of what we were doing and of the horses. And it was like we like lived in the same country, because we did everything together kinda, but we didn't live in the same country. We lived like 40 hours away from each other with a plane. That's probably even more than 40. But, and then it came to May, yeah, I think it was May this year, where she was talking about going somewhere, like for a horsey holiday. She was saying she was most likely going to France, and then she was like, we should go somewhere, like, oh, I wish we could go somewhere together. And I was like, yeah, that would be awesome, but we were just like talking about it, and it was like so unrealistic. But then we actually ended up with, like, she was like, you should find a place in Norway, because I would love to go to Norway and maybe you could come too. So I like texted and called different places in Norway and asked if we could come. And there was one woman who said yes, and my parents said yes that I could go, and her parents said yes that she could go. And we were like, okay, we should not get our hopes up, because like, how realistic is that? We've been talking for so long, and we were like, it would be the most amazing thing to meet each other, but how realistic is it? We were like, okay, we have the hope that it's gonna happen, but we also need to like settle for the fact that it's probably not going to happen. But then it was like, it came closer and closer, we had closer and closer, and we had the date that we were going to meet, which was the 8th of July. And suddenly, and then we were counting down the days, and suddenly like July was here, and I left to the place. And I remember I sat on like the porch in the house we were renting for the month, because we were going to stay there for a month with horses in a house together. I like live on site of the property. So I was sitting on the porch there, and it was quite close to the airport. So I was texting like Mariam, but she was on the plane, so there's obviously no internet or like coverage of anything up in the air. So, but I was sitting there and I was close to the airport, and I was like, I knew her estimated time of landing, and I just saw the airplanes like swiping over me, and I was like, is that Mariam? Is that Mariam? And we were just like, and then when she landed, she called me, and we were both like, ah, this is going to happen. And she was in the airport, and it was so funny. And then they sat in the cab, and she was like, we'll be there in 10 minutes. We'll be there in 5 minutes. And I was just like dying, like I felt like I was gonna die. And then the car came, and I just remember I walked like out, and I saw the car, but it was like the windows were black. And then she wanted to have it on video, so the person who traveled with her was supposed to video it. So then she opened the door, and Mariam just like, I was standing there, and I saw Mariam hiding, because she was like, you need to film this. And then her like cameraman came out first, and she was like, hi, and I was like, hi. And then Mariam stepped out, and we just went over to each other and hugged each other, and it was like, it was so like, it was the best feeling ever. Like, it was so, I don't know, I can't describe it. It was so lovely, and I was crying when I think about it, and it was so strange, because we had seen each other so much like on video over the phone. Like, her voice felt familiar, but it was like I just had to touch her and be like, you don't look real. That's what I said. I probably said it like 50 times, like, you don't look real. It was like she looked fake. Like, I recognized her voice and her face, but just her as a whole person. It was just like, are you real? Like, are you really real? Is it like, is this true? Is this really happening, that we've been talking for a year, and then like suddenly you're here and we're supposed to be together for a month? And it was like, I don't know, I guess you can imagine like my feelings, like my mind. It was just like, how is this possible? And it took a while, but eventually I got used to seeing her and like being together with her. And I guess like everyone can imagine what kind of like, it felt amazing, but it felt unreal. Like, it felt unrealistic that we have been talking for so long and suddenly we met. And it was like such a random thing that we actually started talking. Like, I put up my Snapchat, she added me, she ended up with adding me on Facebook, and I just randomly needed someone who could translate Arabic. And then we started talking because she could translate Arabic, and then we figured out we had some stuff in common. And it was also like, I just think it was fate that we were supposed to, like, our paths were supposed to cross. And it's so strange to have a best friend that lived such a long way from you, but at the same time it's nice because we can always talk. And I don't know, I think it's nice to have an internet friend, but of course I wish she lived closer. But it was so amazing. Like, she is definitely by far my bestest friend. Like, yeah, she's my bestest friend, and she was before I met her. She was like ages before I met her. Since we started talking, like basically after a month or two, I considered her my best friend, and the more we talked, the more of my best friend she became. And she's probably one of the people that knows me best in this world, and I hope it's the same with her. Like, and she means so much to me, and I'm so grateful to have met her, and I'm so glad that our paths ended up with crossing. And I could not have asked for a better friend, and I was so extremely lucky to meet her and spend a month with her. So that was a story about how I met my best friend over the internet and how I actually met her. And that's also the reason I've been missing for this channel for a month, because I spent time with her and we were supposed to like film vlogs and stuff together, but we were just too busy enjoying like the time we spent together. And though we thought we would never meet in real life, we ended up with doing that. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!